Okay, for anybody interested, I'm gonna do a little tour of Hello. It is currently in this in-between state where we have some of the initial construction done, but we're still waiting on some paint and then also some of the interactives. But what's interesting now is that I just worked with Carrie to put up all these wonderful photos and pictures and like little notes about how the space is gonna feel, how it's gonna look, and also some of the interactives that we want, and I wanna give you a little bit tour of that. So starting here, just for some context, this is our entry space. Our main entry door is right here. It's 2 double doors that open. And so starting out on this main big wall is gonna be our telephone connections visualizer. It's a TV that will be taking all the active information from the telephone network and displaying it in a graphical way so that people can see all the different telephone connections and what is happening inside the space. So that's really cool. These aren't actually gonna live here forever, but these are 2 wonderful telephone booths. These are real Bell Western Electric telephone booths that we acquired, and we're gonna have one inside the space. And the cool part is that the other one is gonna be a part incorporated in the logo on the outside of the of this room, right on the other side of this wall. So that is really cool. But they are here temporarily just for storage. So as we go in here, we have this doorway, and we've built it out to be somewhat of a hallway. But what you'll realize is that there's some interesting surprises on the other side of these walls, but I'll guide you in. So we have this entryway space, and you come in and the room opens up. It's not here, but as you can see, this is our main attraction is gonna be right here in the center of this room. This is gonna be our telephone monolith. This is gonna be the main control station, all of our server rack hardware, all the things that control all the telephones in the space is in the center of the room and is on beautiful display for everybody to see. Coming out of it will be all the wires. So you'll see this nest of wires just come sprawling out, shooting up over the ceiling and coming down into all these spaces. And so next I will share with you, I'll start on this side right here near the entrance, what we have back in these nooks. So to start out with, all of these walls, we built them so that we can just straight attach phones to all of them. So a lot of these walls will have a menagerie of phones attached to them, strewn around the space. Here you can see that we've started to lay out kind of what we think, and this one might get 3 phones all right next to each other. And I really like this one, where we ordered a Garfield phone. So that's gonna go right there in that little spot. Inside, you'll notice that these are L walls. So that hallway is defined by these L walls. And here is one of our first kind of interactives besides the telephones that you can call people with, is we have a Morse code station. So we have an actual brass, heavy duty, real Morse code key. And we have the diagram of Morse code, and it's just a fun opportunity to tap away and hear the beautiful sound of Morse code, and for kids to play with that. So that's a really fun little piece right in this little corner. We'll look to this other corner. This is we have a T wall. So this is kind of our unique T wall, and I'll explain what's going right there in just a moment. But inside of here, this is our note station. So we're gonna have a little desk where you can take notes, almost like Post-its. You can write little messages and scroll notes, write something to somebody, draw a little picture, and we'll have a little slot where you can drop your note in to pass it on, or to leave it behind, or for it to be done, or something to be done with it. So that's a little fun tidbit right in there. This has got to be one of my favorite ones. I worked with a company in Poland to build a massive flip dot display. So those it is an array, it's a dot matrix display of these dots that flip over, black or white, to create these images. And it's the same thing that was used at train stations, on trains, on boats. It's a really old style of visual communication. And there's only one company that still produces them, and they're located in Poland, but I was lucky enough to get to work with them to build out a really cool flip dot panel. So on the other side of this T-wall, you'll notice we have another crook, and in here is another writing station. We have a typewriter booth where we're gonna have an old IBM Selectric typewriter where you can sit down and clack away at the keys and write messages and notes, and that will be on a scroll, so that won't be something you can take home, but it will be a scroll that will turn over, and it will just give, it will be a recorded history of all the wonderful things people have shared or talked about, written on the typewriter. That's a really fun one. I'm super excited about that. So turning around, here's our little corner room. Here's another one of our L walls. Of course, we have our telephones kind of laid out, and you can see I've just kind of generally drawn it, and it's not super accurate anyway, but on this wall, I have drawn with Sharpie what I hope the wiring to look like. And so you'll see that I'm really hoping the wire to be super organic and flowy, and to just go be a feature and not a bug. I want people to see the wires. I want people to follow the wires all the way back to where they started. I want this place to be understood. I want people to see that there's a physical wired connection that's creating the connection between the phones and how special that is. Back here is one of our little rooms. This is our 80s den. We have a couple of fun like time themed areas. So this is one of them, is our 80s den. And we're planning on having like a lounge chair and some wood paneling on the walls, things like that. So super fun. Over here, we have our button panel. This is one of our fun features where it's just gonna be a huge cabinet that's got all these buttons, switches, knobs that respond to you switching. So it's got LEDs and lights and things and fun things to interact with. So that's really cool. Here is our kind of strange corner in this room, but this is where we're gonna put one of the telephone booths, so you can step in there and it will have a phone that will work. So when you pick up the phone, you can host a conversation with anybody else in the space and it will ring, or you might also hear a recording depending on what's all going on. Of course, more phones on the walls as we step around. And we go back in here. Here's one of our other interactives. This is an oscilloscope. An oscilloscope is a tool to visualize electrical circuits. And so we're gonna have that hooked up to a phone. So whenever you talk into the phone, you can see your voice drawn out on an old CRT display, and it's got this really beautiful green color, which is gorgeous. So that's a really fun little tidbit right there. More phones, more phones, more phones, more in these walls. Inside here, we're gonna have our 60s living room. We're gonna decorate this in just such a wonderful way with all the little kitschy things that you might see in a 60s room. And in the opposite side, we're gonna have a 70s kitchen. Yet again, all the fun things that go along with that. And we'll of course have like a single wall telephone in each of these spaces that are from an era. And they kind of give a little bit more of a secluded opportunity to maybe take a photo, have an experience, step back in time, and talk on the phone a little bit. So that's a really fun little piece right there. Coming around, this is a cool one. We acquired a Western Electric switchboard, and an actual working Western Electric switchboard. And so we haven't determined exactly its function beyond just plugging things in, but we have a real one right here. So our plan is to put the switchboard right there. And then we want to have a display of all the wonderful people that worked on making telecommunication come to life for us. And I think that's really special. I've heard a lot of really wonderful stories about all the operators, the engineers, the repairmen that worked on all these systems, and the stories that they tell, and it's just wonderful. So a little bit of an homage to them in the care, in the communication, and the networking that they brought here, especially here in the US. Our last little corner over here is a really fun one. This is an idea cooked up by our very own Carrie Adder. This is our chaos closet of phones. The idea is that we're gonna have a closet of 15 phones, and when you pick up one, it's gonna ring another, and it's just gonna be an absolute cacophony of sounds and noises and just wild behavior happening all in this closet. So imagine 15 phones, and you might have one go off, you might have 3 go off, you might have 10 go off. I have no idea, but it's a chaos closet of phones, and there's gonna be 15 phones littered around in this little corner here. We will see how that one goes. I'm very excited to play with that one. Wrapping up, we have this last little wall with even more phones, but I'll give like a quick spin around just to give context. There's our entrance space. These are our 2 walls. We have our flip dot panel that we talked about. We have our 80s den. We have our button switch knob cabinet, telephone booth, more phones, and then oscilloscope on the other side. We have our 60s living room, 70s kitchen right here and here with more phones on the outside. We have our Western Electric switchboard on this wall. And then our closet of chaos. And then standing where I'm at right now, there will be the central switching office controlling this entire network infrastructure. So that is the video for explaining where we're currently at with the Hello exhibit for the Children's Museum of Denver. So yeah, thank you.